Okay, this is part two. And so he was there that night. And so on 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 the way to his house in Fontana from San Bernardino, which I actually don't know the miles, maybe 20 something miles. It was about a half hour drive, I think, maybe 45-minute drive. Um, Scott was a rookie racer, so maybe it was less than that. I don't know, but it was probably at least a 45-minute drive. And he waited for me to talk. And but we got onto the freeway and I still wasn't talking. And and then I think he had asked me, he goes, "What did you do?" I mean, I had tears pouring out of my eyes. And I said nothing. And he goes, and he told me, he goes, "I know you did something." And he asked me, he goes, "Did you try to take your life?" And I just said yes. And we got back to his mobile home and walked in, and his brother had said, "I have everything locked up." He goes, "She's not going to be able to get to anything." And I'm like, "I'm not going to kill myself." He goes, and I said, "And get a knife and stab myself or cut my throat." Well, they weren't taking any chances. They didn't know what my mental state was, what kind of mental state I was in. And honestly, I don't think I knew what kind of mental state I was in, but I had told him, I said I wasn't going to do anything that was going to be hurt me. Well, and I had told them how, the pills I take, and they go, "You don't consider that hurting yourself?" And I'm like going, "Well, taking pills isn't brutal." I said, "It was just going to make me go to sleep." I said, "A knife would be brutal." I said, "So I'm not going to do something like that." And they weren't I said they weren't going to take no chances. I mean, um when they first let me have like a cat nap, it was on the couch. So I didn't have like a sheet, so I couldn't hang myself or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, I wouldn't do that." But like I said, they weren't taking no chances. There was no risk involved. When they monitored me for actually probably the whole entire time. They were I had told mom, in the letter I was on suicide watch, and I even told her that over the phone. But so when mom called me from your house, um, I remember calling you and asking you if my letter came, and you said yes, it was right there. Here, you'll give it to mom as soon as, because I didn't obviously call mom. That back then I always referred to her as Aunt Marie. I never said anything. And and you said yes, Aunt Marie's letters here, and I would always, mom's letters would always be addressed Aunt Marie Backham, just like how I sent Uncle Bud's cards. I put Uncle Bud Backham and I put your address. Well, that's exactly how I did it with mom. I put Aunt Marie Backham, your address, where you lived at the time on Davis Drive or Kingsbury, wherever. Um, and then whatever address I used at the time. Normally, I used the address in San Bernardino, even when Tony and I were married, and we actually physically lived together before I was ever separated. And you said it was there. That mom would be. You said that that Aunt Marie will be here in a couple of days, and I'll make sure she gets the letter, and and I'll have her call you as soon as she comes home. And I had said no. I said I want her to call me, but I need her to read that letter first before she calls me. I said because it explains everything inside of it, and I guarantee as soon as she reads that letter, I said she will call me. And you had asked me, was everything okay? And I said it is now. And you said you want to talk. Do you want to tell me what's going on? And I had told you no. Um, I really wish you knew who I was. I mean, I know that you knew who I was. I mean, you knew about me. You know, I was Tony's wife. So I was a cousin, but you didn't know, obviously, who I actually was, to you. And you just knew that I loved mom. Mom loved me a lot. I was close to her. And she, you told me that she always talked very highly of me. Um, so I remember talking to you a few times, actually, having some long conversations, um, back in that time period in the 90s, 1990s. Um, and they were always nice conversations. And you always said, I could always ask you anything I wanted to, or talk to you about whatever. You even talked to me about when me and Tony were separated, about stuff like that, relationships and marriage and stuff like that. I don't remember the actual conversation, but you did talk to me, um, and you were always nice and polite to me. Um, but so when mom did come in, and I knew this after the fact. Mom had read that letter. Not that day when they came in. She read it the next day, because what I understand, or what I remember, they came in later that day, and she would read her mail the next day, which she did. She said, like, in the morning over coffee, type of thing. She said she read my letter like mid to late morning, and when she read it, she was just devastated and shocked, and read it again. Mom actually told me she read that letter about 6 times before she actually called me. Because the first go around with that letter that she read, it shocked her and upset her. And then when she just couldn't believe what she read, and she had told me all of this on the phone, and she went to read it a second time, and that hit home to her, and she just was so upset and cried. She said, and she said it devastated her on the stuff that I had wrote, and told her what I did. And so after the second time she read it and was extremely emotional, she told me she bawled. She cried. She said she cried so hard. She said it was like if she was to have lost a child. And basically, I mean, I guess. And she said she couldn't have been more hurt when she read that letter. And so after the second time she read it and she was all upset, um, she said she had to put it down. She folded it up and stuck it in her pocket. Um, she composed herself. She calmed herself down. She waited like something like 45 minutes to an hour, and she read it again. And she had read it again and again. And before she called me, and she said it took her that long to compose herself, to calm down, and to collect her thoughts on what she was going to say to me and how she was going to say it, because she told me, she goes, her first reaction was jumping inside the RV and coming to California. That was her first reaction. And but she was unable to do that because your dad wouldn't let her, for one thing. And so she had to think of a plan. She had to think of what she was going to do, what she was going to say. And so, and make, you know, reservations on coming out here, because she said she was going to actually come out here. That just never happened. I wish it would have. And wouldn't have been sitting down, but I still wish it would have. Ouch. Got a Charlie horse. And my foot started going crooked like that from a Charlie horse. That's kind of weird. So she finally called me. It was mid-afternoon in Missouri, because it was, or maybe it was early afternoon. So it was either like 11 o'clock a.m. California time, or it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I actually don't remember which. It might have been 1 o'clock in the afternoon, California time. So that would have been like around 3 o'clock your guys' time. And mom, mom had told me it took her that long to calm herself down and to compose herself and to um, think clear on what to say to me, because she didn't know what to say to me. She knew what she wanted to do to me, because she wanted to. When I say kill me, she didn't really, obviously, literally want to kill me, but she wanted to beat me to a pulp, and she really did. And for me doing what I did, and I wish I could remember the conversation. It was a long conversation, and the longest one I ever had with her, one of the longest ones, or the first longest conversation I ever had with her. And she started out calm and asked me, how are you? How are you now? Um, I told her I was fine, and she said, "You're fine," and wanted to know how my mental state was. Um, and I mean, I was crying. Um, as she started off calm, you could tell she started to cry. And then when she started questioning me about that letter, and she read me that letter over the phone, on what I said, not the whole entire thing, but there's different points in that letter that she touched on. And she said, "Are you sure?" And she'd ask me, "It says so right here. This is what you said." And she read it to me. And she goes, "No, what do you have to say for yourself on that?" And she I remember saying to her on the phone, "You know what it says. I wrote everything in the letter." But no, mom was, and I don't know if she was like that with you guys, but she wanted to hear it from my mouth. It didn't matter that she had already read that letter several times. She wanted to hear it from my lips. So, and her thing was, "I want to hear it with my own ears, out of your mouth. You tell me what it is that you said in this letter. You tell me what it says in this paragraph. You tell me what you meant." And she had asked me like 4 or 5 different times, "Did you do this because of me? Did you do this because of me? Did you do this because of me?" And I'd go into the whole entire explanation about, because of my marriage family, because of Tony's grandmother's, Rose's side of the family. This is what they always did to me. This is what they always said to me. Um, and so mom's like, "So you're blaming everything on them. You're blaming you taking your own life because you're a marriage. You took your own life because dad died. You took in your own life because I'm no longer there." And so it came down to, and she had said that 4 or 5 times because of her. And I finally said yes. And that's what she wanted to hear. She wanted me to admit to her that I blamed you. I attempted suicide because of you, because you left me. You threw me away like I was garbage. You threw me away like I was a rag doll. You didn't want me no more. You were done playing house, and you didn't want Raggedy Ann anymore. You threw her away, and you're done. And you don't want to see her anymore. You don't love her anymore. That pierced mom's heart, she had said. And she said, "You have no idea on how this has affected me. You have no idea," she goes, "on how this has hurt me." She goes, "You literally just, I might as well have taken a knife and stuck it right into her heart and killed her." She said, "That's how bad," she goes, "you hurt me." And I told mom, I said, "You have no idea," I said, "on how bad you hurt me. You told me you would never see me again." And she had said, That's not what I said. She goes, I told you I would probably never see you again, or not ever see you again. She never said the word never. She said probably. I said, well, probably means the same thing as never. And she said, and I told you I don't know. I said, you told me, let the waters clear, let the dust settle. And then in time, maybe we can see each other again. I said, it's been over a year. I said, when is that going to happen? I wanted to come spend time with you. You told me, yes, I could. I can come up there. I can come and spend time with you. I said, for a couple of weeks. And then the day that I'm coming. You tell me, no, I can't have you here. You can't come here. I can't be around you. I said, what do you think that said to me? And I just kind of like went off. And then she yelled at me and told me, watch my mouth, watch my attitude, be respectful. And I kept telling her, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm trying to be respectful. I'm not trying to disrespect you, because I really wasn't trying to. I was trying to make Mom understand how I felt. And she just kept saying that I never saw this. I go, you knew I cried a lot. You knew I was always upset. And I go, how could you never have seen how depressed I always was? And she said, I never looked for it. And I'm like, all the times I said I cried into your arms, I cried into your shoulder. I said, all those times I said I argued with them, I said it was not just for nothing. You think that I did it for attention, and I didn't do it for attention. She said I never looked for it. And I just kept saying how sorry I was, but she got to the part inside the letter on how I said that I picked that day, because that was the day that she told me she would not ever see me again. She probably would not ever see me again. And I told her I wanted to punish her. That hurt her, and it pissed her off. And I said, I want your last memory of me, I said, is to look inside that casket. I was crying. She got mad at me. I mean, it's not funny or anything like that, but I remember her getting stern with me and says, young lady, she goes, you listen to me. And she goes, and you listen to me good. And just laid into me very good. That's the word. I've had hundreds of scoldings from Mom. When I say hundreds, I literally mean hundreds. I've had good scoldings from her, and all she'd have to do is look at me wrong, or give me that mother look. And because I knew I was in trouble, and I'd just start crying. My tears would just start coming out of my eyes. And so she raised her voice at me. I just started bawling. She was crying over the phone. You could hear her sniffling. But I was bawling. And I kept saying, I'm sorry, I love you. She goes, you love me? She goes, is this how you treat me? She goes, is this how you show me on how much you love me? She goes, by taking your own life, attempting to take your own life, and writing me this letter that you did, and stuff like that. And she said, I have a right mind. She is making you a copy and sending this back to you. And I don't remember ever her doing that. I would actually, obviously I want to read all those letters and cards. I'm never going to, because, I think Rita's got them because they're in a box somewhere. I don't think Mom would have threw those away. And I think that's where my papers and pictures and everything is at. My birth certificate, maybe the necklace that I gave her, I don't know. But I'm never going to see any of that again. And she's like, oh, is this how you honor me? Is this how you respect me? This is how you show me how much you love me, by doing this to me and blaming me for what you did. Because I totally blamed her. I couldn't have been more sorry. I mean, gosh, Mom made me feel like I was about like that big. And she had told me that, she had told me a bunch of stuff. And she said, she goes, if I was there right now, she goes, where are you? I said, I'm sitting on my bed, on the edge of my bed. And she said, if I was there right now, she goes, you wouldn't be doing that. And she goes, you would not be sitting down. And I believed her. And I don't mean any disrespect to mom about it. I don't mean to sound like, mom was brutal or abusive, because, she never was. And I told you that. Um, she meant it. And I know if she would have had, if it was in her power to come here and see me and to take me with her like she wanted to, oh yeah, I wouldn't have been able to sit down. I know it. She would have blistered my rear end. She told me that. Um, I mean, I had whippings with that belt that she had, that has all the names on it, and my name's on that belt, and she would have used it. I know so. Um, she was a woman of her word. When she said she'd do something, she'd do it. And but she was going to. I just kept begging her to come get me, come get me, come get me. And she says, "Is that what you want?" And I just kept saying, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's what I want." She goes, "You want me to come there and give you a whipping and take and have me and have me take you for a while?" Well, I wanted her to come and take me for a while, yes, but I told her, I said, "It's not like I want you to come here and give me a whipping. That's not why I did this." Because at first, during that course of that conversation, mom thought I did it on purpose. Mom thought I did it for attention, so she would come here. And I said, "That's not why I did it. I told you," I kept telling her, "This is why, this is why, this is why." And then the final straw was, yeah, it was because of you. Because you abandoned me. You casted me aside. To me, it was like, I'm nothing to you now. You had your fun with me. You played house. I was your daughter in California, but now dad's dead and buried, and so now I'm not your daughter anymore. And that's how she made me feel. Literally made me feel. And I tried to explain, well, not convince her, but I tried to explain that to her. And I could never explain anything clearly except, really to her. And she didn't think what I did was warranted, and it probably wasn't. I mean, there's no good reason for anybody to attempt suicide. There is not. Even being really depressed. And she wanted to get me medical help. She said, "I will not have a problem paying for it. I will seek medical help for you." A psychiatrist or a psychologist, I think. Um, she said, "And I will seek help for you." And I told her, "No, you don't need to do that." And she wanted to make sure my mental state was fine. I said, "All I need is you. I need you. Just come and take me. I need you." And with that, she kept saying, "I come get you." And she goes, "You will not be sitting down. I'm telling you, darling, you don't know what you're saying." She goes, "You will not sit down. I will blister your rear end." And I'm like, "I don't care. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do to me." And I said, "You can black and blue me. I don't care. I need you. I physically need you." I said, "You don't understand. You don't understand." And she goes, "I'm trying to understand." She goes, "Because in my wildest dreams," she goes, "I cannot wrap my head around what you did. I cannot. I am trying to understand why you did this." And I kept telling her, I said, "Because of this, because you left me, because I'm a fake daughter to you." And then she goes, "Here we go again with that fake daughter stuff." And she didn't curse. She almost did, but she didn't curse. And then I just begged and begged and begged and pleaded and pleaded and pleaded with her. And she says, "Just a minute." And she had opened up the door where she was at your house. And she had called you to the door, and she said, "Go get your father and ask him to come here." And you had said, "Is everything all right?" And you said, "Everything is fine. Thank you for asking. Please go get your father and ask him to come here a minute." And so you did. And so she was on the phone. She was taking a drink of something that you had brought her. And your dad comes into the room. He closes the door, and he said, "What's wrong?" And she told your dad that she goes, "I need to go to California." She goes, "Please grant me this favor. Please grant me this favor. I need to go to California. I need to go to Teresa." And he said, "What's wrong?" what happened? Did something happen? And she said, yes. She goes, she attempted suicide. And I instantly heard your dad say, good God, what the hell was she thinking? And I thought, oh shit. I probably said it. Mom said, watch your mouth. And she goes, you heard that, didn't you? Yes, ma'am. Because I was convinced that your dad hated me. And so, and he said, is she all right? Is she in the hospital? Um, what's wrong? I mean, your dad, when mom said that I attempted suicide, your dad was, I think, thought something more brutal than me taking a handful of pills. And mom said, no, she's not in the hospital. I have her on the phone. She's at the house, that house in San Bernardino. And she said, and he goes, what did she do? And he said, and she said, she took a bottle of pills. And then I could hear him in the background, and your mom's like going, please, please grant me this favor. Please, I need to go to her. I need to take her. I need to take her for a while. And your dad said yes. And mom said, okay. She goes, I'll come. I'll come for you. She goes, you pack. She goes, you pack a variety of clothes. Because I might decide to take you out on the road with me for a while and down into Florida. And that's when she had told me that she would take me, we would go to St. Louis, and I would get to meet you. And then we would be there in St. Louis for a couple of days, and then I'd go down to Florida with them and I'd be gone for a couple of months. So she said, take a variety of clothes. And I'm like, all right. And she said, I'll call you in a couple of days, and let you know where we're at and when we'll be there. She goes, but you be ready, and you be ready to go. So I was ready. I mean, I didn't unpack my clothes from when I was in Fontana. I just washed my clothes. And she had said, do not bring, and that's when I was smoking. And she said, do not bring no cigarettes with you. She said, you do? She goes, you're going to be sorry. And I'm sure I would have been sorry. But a couple of days passed. Mom was on her way, her and Uncle Bud, and got a phone call, and it was mom. She was at Uncle Wayne's, and she said something came up. They couldn't come yet. And I started crying and stuff like that. And she said, I will come the first chance I get. She goes, and she promised me. And she said, I'll be back for you. And I could hear, I think it was Uncle Wayne and Aunt Sharon, mostly Aunt Sharon, and saying that, Teresa's only doing that for attention, type of thing. And I kept telling mom, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And she goes, never mind. She goes, I will come get you. I told you I would come get you. And I'm like, okay, type of thing. And she goes, I love you. And stay in the bedroom. And so I did what she said. And then a couple of weeks went by. It was probably more than a couple of weeks. And I just waited and waited and waited for mom. And might have been 6 weeks went by. I mean, I remember it was a time had went by. Mom calls, and Joanne's daughter Wanda said, your aunt's on the phone. And I was like all happy and stuff like that. That mom called because I'm thinking, oh yeah, she's gonna come. And I think might have been 3 weeks. I know it was a lengthy time, 3 weeks or 6 weeks, something stupid like that. And mom gets on the phone, and she's talking to me, and she's saying that, how are you doing? I'm all right. I guess I shouldn't have said I was all right, because I really wasn't all right. But at the second I was all right, I didn't know what type of response she wanted. And so she's like talking to me and stuff like that. What have you been doing? Well, you told me to stay in my room, so I've been staying in my room. I haven't gone anywhere. And so she said, well, it sounds like you're all right. She goes, it sounds like you don't need me. And I just went off on that. And I said, yes, I do need you. Yes, I do need you. I still need you to come. I need you to come. I need you. I need you. I need you. And it was like this mantra of a repeat. No, it sounds like you're fine to me. It sounds like you're all better now. So I guess you did do it for attention. And I was like, no, I'm not. And I'm screaming, I didn't do it for attention. I didn't do it for attention. I think she was at Uncle Wayne's and Aunt Sharon's because they were in the background again saying, Marie, she's only doing it for attention. Why do you give in to her? Why? And it was Aunt Sharon that was saying that, and saying, you always give in to Teresa. You always gave in to her. When are you gonna stop letting her manipulate you? Type of thing. And I kept screaming to Mom, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I need you. I need you. Please, I need you. And I was begging and begging and begging. And I figured, and I was getting mad. I was stomping my foot, and I took my fist like this way, and I went, bam, right up against the wall. And she's like, what did you do? I'm like, nothing. I go, you're making me mad. I said, I took my fist. I said, I slammed it on the wall. And I was slamming right. My door was right there, and I was going like that. And she kept saying, knock it off, stop doing that. You're gonna hurt yourself. I'm like, I don't care. Mom cared, but so she didn't come. She just said, there's nothing wrong with you now. You don't really need me. And I was begging and begging and pleading. And your dad was on, and he was there. I mean, he could hear, it's like he could hear the conversation. So maybe Mom was holding the phone out like that. I don't know. And he said, Marie, he goes, if you go and get Teresa and you bring her down there with us, then she's going to find out what it is that we do. And you don't want her to find out what we do. What if something happens? And I told Mom, I said, I don't care what you do. I swear to God. I said, I won't tell anybody. I promise you. I give you my word, my vow, and my promise. I don't care what you do. You know that. I won't tell. I won't ever tell. And Mom goes, I know you won't. And I said, then come get me. You promised. You told me you would come get me. And Mom goes, I didn't promise you. I said, yes, you did. I said, you told me you were coming for me and you would come get me for the first chance you get. I said, you gave me your word. I said, that's the same thing as a promise because that's what she taught me. Your word, your vow, and your promise. When you make them, you don't break them. And she gave me her word. So I took that as a promise. And after I tried arguing and pleading with her, I just said, fine, screw it. I said, you're right. I said, I don't need you. I was pissed. I was hurt. I was so hurt. I couldn't have been more, well, I've been more hurt before, but I was hurt. So she had said, well, I know that you're not going to take any more pills because I had you dump them out. Because when she had called me from your house, when she had gotten that letter and she had called me, she had asked me if I had any more pills, and I'm like, I didn't answer her. And then she's like stern with me. And there's only been a couple of times, I can count on one hand on how many times she ever called me by my full given name. And nobody was around her. She was in the room of your house behind closed doors. And she had called me Teresa Vera Marie Waltman. And she goes, and you answer me right now. She goes, do you have any more of those pills? And I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I do. I said, I'm looking right at them. And she goes, you told me you dumped them out. I said, I did. I said, I dumped out. I said, that bottle of 90 that you had me dump out. That I did do. In the toilet. And I had the receiver going like this over the toilet bowl as I was pouring the pills inside the toilet and flush it. She heard me do it. And she said, you didn't tell me. She goes, you had any more pills? I said, because you didn't ask. Oh, dang it. I have to do another part. I'm sorry. Hang on. Part 3 is coming in a second.